You'll never change the future version of you if you keep focusing and keep looking back at the past version of you. What I mean by that is a lot of guys, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of dreamers, a lot of people, they want so bad to be successful, to build that business, to live a certain life, drive a certain car, have a certain wife or a girlfriend or kids, or create a certain life that they want. And what happens is that they hold themselves back because of the belief that they hold about themselves. And the reason that they hold the belief about themselves is because they keep looking at the evidence of what happened last time, or what may have happened in the past, or with a decision that was very similar to the one that they're trying to make now, and what they did then. And until you let go of your past mistakes and your past successes, you'll never create the future that you want to create, because it'll keep repeating over and over and over and over again what you've already done, simply because what you give attention to grows, right? So if you want to become successful, right, or if you want to go make money, the goal isn't to study the poor. The goal is to study the rich. The goal is to study what people do that actually succeed, not study the people. You don't want to go study the things that you shouldn't be doing, right? So why, if you're looking to create success and create a certain future, what you're saying is that you obviously don't have that future at the moment. So for you to go and study your past that's not successful would be just as equal to going and study someone that doesn't have riches and expecting to get it. It just doesn't make any sense, right? A lot of times you have people that say, "Oh man, like they get to a lot of times you have these people that get into these relationships and they're like, oh man, I just don't want to end up like my dad, or I don't want to end up like this person, or I don't want to end up like that person." And what happens? You've all seen it. They end up exactly like that person. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not because they, didn't try to avoid it. It wasn't for lack of trying. The thing is that they focused on it. They focused on exactly what they didn't want, and therefore they got exactly that, right? You get exactly what you focus on. That's just the way things work. And so if you want to change your future, you got to change what you're doing right now. And the only way to change what you're doing right now is to first envision the person that you want to become, and then let go of the person that you already became. I like that. To become the person that you want to become, imagine that person and let go of what you became already. The person that you are right now is just a sum, or a total of every decision that you've made in the past, every lack of decision you made in the past, every procrastination, every single choice that you've made over the last however old you are, right? And I mean, I don't even really like to say however old you are. I guess I could probably say, the last, really, if you want to look at it, it's pretty much the last 2 years. The last 2 years of your life, for some, maybe even the last year of your life, really dictate who you are right now. And you can go back and you can extrapolate it out and look at the decisions you made over the last 12 months or 18 months or 24 months, and think about the books you read. Think about if you even read books. Think about the movies you watched or didn't watch. Think about the time that you spent working out or not working out. Think about the food that you ate. It takes about, if you're really consistent and focused and trying to do it, I would like to say it takes about 6 months to really like switch into something, like to be someone totally different than you were 6 months ago. But unconsciously, just kind of like letting yourself drift, it probably takes about 12 to 18 months to really become a totally different person without trying to. And so all those decisions that you've made, because you didn't have a destination and you didn't have a purpose in which way you were going, and you allowed yourself to look back at the past, you've just became this person that you are right now. And again, the only way to change that is to, one, think of a new destination and change your habits in the now. Don't change your habits in the future. Change your habits right now. Do things different today. Don't wait until you start that new business. No, just build the business you have right now as if you were working on the one that you want. And I know that's where it kind of gets a little weird, but like when I say as if, I mean put the same energy into it. Obviously, if you're a recruiter and you want to start a coaching business, you can't like just switch businesses, and you know what I mean? Like you have to, I'm just saying, put the energy into what you want and think about where you're going. Don't let your past demons and your past period dictate where you're going in life. Just completely get rid of it. There's no reason to think about it. There's no reason to talk about it. I had to text my wife I don't know if that was the other day or there may have even been this morning. I texted her and I was like, hey, like I know we've been, you know, obviously my wife and I talk a lot, but one thing that I kind of found us talking about was the past. And I found us talking about the past more than we were talking about the future. And I just don't like it. I'm reading The Science of Getting Rich right now, and I just finished reading Don't Worry, Make Money, and like all these other books. And one thing that they all talk about is like getting rid of worry and getting rid of just the state of mind that you don't want to be in, and putting yourself in the correct state of mind. And one of the number one ways that people end up stuck is that they spend so much time thinking about the past, talking about the past, thinking about times where they weren't successful, or thinking about times of poverty, or thinking about that one time when they didn't have a car and they found something. Like they spend so much time thinking about the times in life where they lacked that they end up putting so much energy into those areas, and they just end up recreating it because they're imagining it. You're telling your brain that you want it again, and you're just putting yourself right back there. And so I told my wife, like, hey, I'd like to stop talking about the past. Like, I understand we're gonna slip up, like I get it, we're humans. But I want to tell you, but I want to tell you because I don't want to just like be in the middle of a conversation and then just be like, hey, like let's not talk about that, and then you'd be like, what the hell, like what's going on? And so I told her like, hey, let's try to avoid talking about the past. We've talked about it enough times where we understand what happened, and we both were there. So let's kind of avoid that, and let's talk more about the future. Let's talk about where we're going, what we want to do, who we're going to do it with, what it looks like. Let's dream more together, right? And I think that people don't understand the power behind the imagination that God gave them, and so therefore they only use it when it's an emergency. They only use it when they worry or they have something that's going to come up and they're like, oh man, like I just don't want that to happen. And what happens is you start to envision it, and over and over and over and over again. And what you're doing is you're using the same imagination that you could be using for positive. You're just using it for a negative. It works the exact same way. You have the choice on how you use your imagination and how you use free will and how you use visualization and your words and all this different stuff. And if you choose to use it recklessly and aimlessly, well, it's going to manifest into the life that you have. So if you have a life that's aimless and reckless and you don't know what you're doing and you don't really know where you're going, I could probably talk to you long enough and just in what you would say, you would tell me exactly why. For example, you're probably not imagining where you want to go. You probably don't think about it enough. You probably don't have it that detailed if you do think about it. And those are the things that you have to solidify before you think you're going to go and create a life of your dreams. Because even if I asked you, like, what is a life of your dreams, you wouldn't even be able to tell me what that even was. And that's what you got to know the basics. You got to know what my dream life actually is. If I said, what car do you want to drive? What house do you want to live in? Where do you want to live at? What, like, do you only want one house? What color is the car? What color is the house? How many rooms? What type of floors? What type of ceiling? What type of... You see what I'm going? You gotta know this stuff, or else you're gonna get whatever life hands to you. So many people, when I as a Christian, there's times where this topic can be hit or miss, because a lot of Christians don't like this topic because it's so like manifesty and enlightened or whatever, and I understand where it can go that way for certain people, and I understand that there's a slippery slope when you don't understand what you're talking about or what you're listening to. And in saying that, one of the major problems I see is it can be contradicting, because the same people that tell me that this stuff is too like hocus pocus, they're the same people that will also tell me what kind of relationship they want, what kind of business they want, what kind of job they want. And they get super specific in stuff that they, how do I say, in stuff they have in their mind. But when it comes to their life, that's when it gets weird. It's like, okay, you can visualize everything you want in your life, but when it comes to like the life as a whole, it gets weird. Like that doesn't even make any sense. And so I implore you to take the time to think about what you want, what kind of car you want, what kind of business you want, what kind of life you want, where do you want to live? Do you want a wife? Do you want kids? Do you want a husband? Whatever it is, think about it, because that's going to determine the moves that you need to make. And if you don't, you're going to just end up aimlessly in life. Like that's just the way it works. You got to either give yourself a direction, or there is no direction.